Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Chill Out podcast. So, in today's episode, it is for anyone who's ever asked themselves, what if I just chose a different life? I'm sitting down with Nate, the founder of Savio, an email marketing agency built on creativity, strategy, and a whole lot of freedom. But before he was running a remote business from anywhere in the world, Nate was working in real estate in the heart of New York City. We're talking about reinvention, risk taking, and designing a life that actually feels good. From trusting your gut to walking away from the safe route and building systems that support real freedom. So, this one's full of hidden gems, okay, for creatives and entrepreneurs and anyone craving more alignment in their lives. So, whether you are listening from your desk, your couch, or some dreamy corner of the world, let's get into it. I love you. Okay, so first of all, how's it going? How are you?
Busy days, actually. I just finished a whole 10 days with my mom and my sister. They came to visit me here in Colombia. First time, actually, that this happened. I've been traveling for quite some time. And yeah, it was never a thing where my mom or my sister come to visit me. I couldn't really do much work. It was a lot of just, I must do this today, but not like anything new or creative or of that sort. So crazy week ahead, and I'm a bit, just I'm psyched about it, a bit stressed, but like good stress.
Let's start it off at the beginning, right? So, how did you go from NYC real estate
hmm
to email marketing and then starting your own agency?
So I gotta be just honest with you. First of all, I like to give long explanations, so I do, apologize in advance. I'll start from the very top, actually. So when I started the New York City broker lifestyle or job, it was a lot because of freedom. I was really chasing freedom, and before that, I used to work in a furniture store. So furniture store has its limitation. You have to be physically in the store for 8 9 hours a day. And then I was 21 at the time, and I met you know this crazy dude that basically told me, hey, I actually kind of like Wolf of Wall Street scene. If you remember Danny Azoff and the Wolf of Wall Street, they meet outside of a diner, and the Wolf of Wall Street is flashing a check to Danny Azoff, and he tells him, "You know how much money I made last month?" So that scene right there.
Yeah.
So this dude told me about this real estate job, made a lot of money. I knew the dude from the moment he stepped inside of inside of New York City. He was fresh off the boat, just like an immigrant, and he told me, "Yo, this is legit. I'm making a lot of money." And I said to him, if you show me a check that you made, I don't know, $30,000, $40,000, I leave my furniture store job and I come work for you or come work with you. And that what happened. I basically moved out of that job. I completed my real estate license in like a month, and I started working that. So the whole thing that made me go to that job was freedom, and I got more freedom than before, but it wasn't the ultimate freedom. Where you can live anywhere you want. You have your laptop. As long as you have your laptop and internet and an internet connection, you can pretty much, be anywhere you want. And you manage your own time, and then you can build this team around you. And it's, for me, it was the ultimate freedom. And I remember that winter of 2019 coming into 2020, right before COVID. I kind of saw a pattern. Another winter in New York, it gets a little bit slower. The holiday season, Christmas is approaching, and I'm like, man, I don't want to do another winter in New York. It was my ninth winter, and I was like, yeah, man, I wish I can find something. And frequency, I don't know if you believe in that. Frequency wise,
Yeah, I do.
I was not fearful anymore. Fear is kind of like low frequency. I was like, I had courage to do something bold, and that translated into me reaching out to people all of a sudden. And then all of a sudden, out of like despair, I was like really looking forward to find something that winter of 2019 that would be different than all the other winters I had in New York. you know and it's very easy to fall into that trap of, just, oh, okay, another winter, and I'll, buy stuff in New York for Black Friday and take advantage of sales. All of a sudden, it was like, okay, I believe it's going to happen now, and I summoned this opportunity that I literally, you know, bumped into, it's a long story in its own, but finding somebody on Instagram that I did see his lifestyle, and I was like, man, that's exactly what I want. Not a flashy guy, not a guru, but cold winter in New York and ninth winter, 4 p.m. It was like pitch black outside, and I was like, I need a big change, and I just reached out to a bunch of people until something pretty much kind of clicked.
So why email marketing though? And like why just starting your own agency? Because I know a few
Mhm.
agency owners and
Mhm.
it's a very stressful position to be in, especially if it's yours. So what made you go into that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I actually the person that I reached out to in that winter of 2019, he basically is a traveler, a,
Mhm.
a digital marketing agency owner, just like what we do, and he was doing YouTube ads for SaaS businesses and e-commerce stores,
Okay.
and his partner, his like friend and partner, was an email marketing agency owner. So he was doing Klaviyo. He was the biggest agency at the time, and I was not thinking about email marketing at all. I actually started as a chatbot builder. I used to build chatbots. That's what I used to do. And all of a sudden, I gave it a shot for about 9 months, and things were very, very like, chatbots were good, like many chatbots. They were good, but not enough. Like it wasn't like meaty enough for me to actually make, ends meet, if that makes sense. So after 9 months, I ran out of money. And I was in a foreign country. I moved to Brazil to live with them and learn from them. They already moved out. It was COVID, or a few months after COVID.
Mhm.
Like the big breakout, like of February, March, April, May, June. So I was like around November. It was a bit better. Like the vaccines already were a thing, but I ran out of money. So after 9 months of giving digital marketing a shot, building chatbots and doing like Zapier automations, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm out of money. So I realized like I have to reinvent something. I have to reinvent, this opportunity, or reinvent myself. And everybody that I worked with, even as a chatbot builders, were like, can you help me build this automation so I can get more email subscribers? Can you build Zapier connections to my Klaviyo account? And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I all of a sudden I kind of like saw myself in Klaviyo more and more and more often. And email marketing, Savio was born. It was actually the first name of Savio was Savio Chatbot.
That's super
Yeah.
interesting. So you're actually like a creative, but you're also really good at like technical stuff.
I had to learn this actually. I'm not if you think about it, I'm very creative. I've never been a technical guy, but I had to learn this. I had to like survive. So I kind of took any job, anything that I could find on upwork.com. I just grabbed it and hugged it with two hands, and I had to survive. I took jobs for $200, for $100 for free to prove myself. It was the race to survive, and the freedom was the main, like, just like I like to get freedom for myself. I understood that people that open businesses also care about freedom. Not a lot of times somebody is passionate about their products. A lot of time they can drop ship, or build a
Yeah.
business that worked, because that's ultimately what you need to be free, right?
Yeah.
So it's your freedom, it's your loved one freedom, it's your kids' freedom, it's your, your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend. So I think freedom is a big thing that not a lot of people talk about in that sense. They always say like, yeah, just build a business of freedom, but nobody really talks about the sacrifice like that. And that's what I had to do. I had to be technical, even though I'm not technical. My brother is. My brother is super like a geeky guy, introverted. I'm very extroverted. I come from a sales background.
I can
Nothing
tell.
to do with technical.
Yeah, no, I totally resonate with that because a lot of people aren't necessarily, well, if you look at it like making money equals freedom, right? So a lot of business
Yeah.
owners, that's what they seek more than just like the paycheck. Okay, so choosing a non-traditional path, like leaving a stable career, I'm using quotation marks, to
Yeah.
build something of your own is obviously scary. So
Mhm.
what mindset shift or just anything, like what helped you trust your gut enough to make that shift?
Right. Pain. A lot of pain. I was in a lot of pain. I knew I had something bigger planned, and I was just in a lot of pain in New York. I had 9 winters where I'm like, this internet thing is booming. People are chasing their dreams. Um, I know I'm meant for something bigger ever since I was a kid. I remember in school, teachers used to write for me like, has a lot of potential, didn't meet it again. Hopefully, maybe next semester. And this
That's
hopefully
so
next
true.
semester, I don't know if you can resonate. I was tired of this. At the age of 27, it was literally 5 years ago. I was like, I'm tired of maybes and another year of not meeting his potential. So I was in a lot of pain, and I'm like, why can't it be me? Like I'm not a flashy guy. Like I'm never like flexing like hard on anything. I believe in like hard work. But I didn't know where to start, and I was in a lot of pain, and I was like stuck.
So you obviously felt unhappy with your situation, right?
Hmm.
And that was your
Yeah.
motivation to get out of your situation.
Yeah. 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 I was in a lot of pain actually. It was like a few things that preceded that
Mm-hmm.
bigger pain. It was a breakup. It was my landlord in my apartment that the landlord, classic for New York City, the landlord lived on the building that I used to live in at the time. It was a two-story building, two-family house.
Yeah.
The first floor, the landlord used to live, an Italian guy. His father like moved from Italy, built the neighborhood, and he basically inherited that,
The building.
two-story apartment building. So he died. And it was like a good, movie, a scene from a movie. The landlord dies. I have to move out. I break up from a girlfriend, and I moved into like a crappy apartment in New York in Astoria that is like 20 square meters. Leak in the bathroom, mold in the closet. All my clothes are messed up.
That's
Um,
terrible.
yeah, it's like a sequence of like back to
Yeah.
back to back, crap that just lands on my plate. And on top of the normal, cold winters in New York, where I'm not a winter guy. I promised myself no more winter. I want to be on top of that at least. I want to be able to choose if I want to do winter, and I want to enjoy the winter, not just like survive the winter, but
Yeah.
enjoy the winter. If I'm already in a winter situation, maybe snow, maybe ski, maybe I'm with a good group of friends. I felt very lonely on top of everything I just mentioned, and this was like the cherry on top. Another winter was the cherry on top of this whole situation, and I'm like, anything is better than this. So I was like in a lot of pain, and I was like, I have to change something, and then the opportunity presents itself. So for me, it was like anything is better than this. Anything is better than this. Like, thank God that I was like on top of this. I actually forgot I had like some I had some health issues that I discovered like for the first time, and I had to have my mom take care of me. And so all of that, I was like, you know what? If I get out of that sickness, I promise myself I'll do anything. I'll do anything. And that's what I did. As soon as that opportunity presented itself, I remember going on the call with these guys that I met online who were living that lifestyle. And they're like, oh, we can mentor you, but that's what's going to cost. I was like, give me like an hour. And I remember like thinking about it for 5 minutes and messaging them back. I'm like, hey, man, let's do it. I'll pay you anything you want. Let's just do it.
Yeah, they usually say that when you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere lower to go.
Yeah, and I'm a pretty optimist guy. I'm a pretty like positive person, and even all after all of these things happened, I was like, all right, how can I learn from this? I was getting closer to 30, and I realized nothing is going to change. 5 years can change, and if I don't take a big step now, it's kind of like the cocoon, like a little worm that goes inside of the cocoon.
Yeah.
It's so much energy invested to become a butterfly. It's not just going to happen because you want it. You have to literally hibernate and sacrifice and be stuck inside of a cocoon in order for you to become this butterfly. And I felt like if I wouldn't take that leap of faith in myself, nothing would change. I would become, I would be 30, I would turn 30, 35, 40, nothing will change.
Yeah. No, I
You know?
love your honesty as well when it comes to mental health, because I feel like there's a huge stigma around men obviously expressing how they feel and like having emotions, because apparently it's like not cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's hard sometimes, and sometimes you just have to push yourself out of it. I wanted to ask you, how is the
Mhm.
lifestyle in New York? Like, is it as cutthroat as it looks on TV?
Yeah, yeah, great question. After 10 years of living there, and my family, my mom, my sister, they're still there. It is in a very big sense. I see New York is very extreme on both ends of the spectrum. On one side, you have people that are very like low on energy and kind of like accepting, all right, that's my reality. And unfortunately, they work whatever jobs they can, and the system got the best of them. They work jobs they don't like. They had a dream, that's why they moved to New York, but the city was too expensive. They, got shut down a few times, maybe chasing like, acting career, or like
Yeah.
being, I don't know, something creative, or maybe even a stockbroker. And they just couldn't pursue their dream. So they just ended in a job that just help them make ends meet, and that's it. Or on the other side, there's the top percent, 1% that is super successful and they're like thriving. But the difference is vast. Like there's one side on, there's one side of people on one side and then the other side that is completely different. And then there is me trying to find myself in between. And I wasn't as successful at the time. I did make success. I was like really successful at my job. But then I didn't even find passion in that anymore. Like it
Yeah.
gave me freedom. I learned everything. And then I find myself under this glass ceiling and I'm trying to like push through and I couldn't. And I said, I don't want to go the other side of these people that are like with broken dreams. I'm so young, I still have so much to give. So New York could be cutthroat. It could very much be because it's so expensive. It's so extreme also in weathers. It's either extremely hot in July, August, or it's so cold in, the rest of the year. It's so fast paced or very slow paced. I have a lot of friends who caved in and started using drugs. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's really not my thing. Like I'm all about mental health and physical health. And, life is this beautiful journey. And I feel like succumbing to drugs, I mean, using it once in a while, it's fine. But I know people use it day in and day out. And I think that's like coping and it's not thriving. And it's very, again, cutthroat because it's so extreme. There's very rarely you see somebody in New York just like, yeah, I eat sweet once in a while, yeah, I do recreational drugs once in a while.
Yeah.
It's usually I use it every day or I completely steer away from this. I'm like super against religion or I'm super religious because this city is like sinner city, and I'm like, no, I think there's a lot of gray in life. I like gray, but it's beautiful. I think for me, like just to being a creative, I have a vlog and I like photography and videography. I started learning it in New York, just being inspired by the street signs and the neon lights and all these like big banners, these like, diner signs and stuff. I was like, wow, this is crazy. And the bright colors, like the yellow taxi, color is such a specific yellow. Because in Colombia, they also have a yellow, but it's kind of like, dull. In New
Yeah.
York, it's like a in your face yellow.
Yeah.
And the concrete gray, the asphalt is gray, such a vivid color. And when it rains, it even like accentuated that even more. And afterwards, I'll send you like a picture I took in 2017 that I was like, thought it's lame without even editing it at all. Like you'll see a yellow taxi, an asphalt, the red, traffic sign, and all these just like burst to your eye. So the creativity in New York is like on another level, I would say, because of all these things.
I know you mentioned to me that you moved from New York to Miami for a little bit. Why did you make
Yeah.
that shift?
Yeah. So many people understood what I just said. In New York, it's very extreme. And it's a bit hard to kind of like enjoy the city as a local. As a tourist, it's amazing. So what a lot of people understood is Miami's cheaper, the weather is better, the people there are a lot warmer. The southern hospitality everywhere in the south is kind of like nicer people, nicer weather. The culture is a lot more welcoming, and it's less cutthroat. The lifestyle there is a lot better. You have like the beach, and you have like a lot more sports going on. So many New Yorkers, including myself, in COVID, moved to Miami. So after being in Brazil, opening Savio, I was like, maybe I can go back to the U.S. And my friends actually were there. And a lot of them were inviting me, like, come check it out. It's pretty cool. Like for the same $2,000, you can get a 1 bedroom. You don't have to live like above a dumpster, because that's what I had before I moved out of New York. I was paying like $1,800 for like a 20 square meter studio. So I went to Miami. I went to Miami and I kind of checked it out, and it was beautiful. But after about a year, prices kind of caught up to New York prices, and there's a lot more traffic now.
Yeah.
There's a lot more people. Everything is like, the attitude from New York moved down to Miami. So it's the New Yorkers in Miami now. So it's kind of like Miami was invaded by New Yorkers.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I think it's also popular now because a lot of creators have moved there, like the Nelt Boys. Like, I totally get it. Okay, so I want to shift gears and I want to ask you, so you've obviously built an agency that is not only successful, but it's portable. So what were some of the biggest mindset shifts or systems that helped you in terms of that, in terms of building your agency to where it is?
Yeah. So I'm not a technical guy. And I had to acknowledge this. And I had to work with somebody who's very technical and organized. I had to learn this, but it's not my forte. In order to scale, I needed to admit that. I need to drop the ego and say, that's not me. I need help. And I actually found Elby, who is extremely technical. She's more introverted. She likes to be in front of a computer. She doesn't like to do a lot of calls. She's a bit shy. And that's where we really complemented each other. And that was the first big move that really made Savio what it is today. Before, I used to have clients and I used to work with Elby, but more on a freelance basis. But then her agency got shut down because the kids, I call them, who ran like that other agency where she used to work beforehand, they shut it down. Nobody liked to work there. Like the satisfaction of the employees was very low.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is because the culture was a lot about shaming people to do something. Like I remember they had like a Slack channel like called the Wall of Shame or the Wall of Truth or something like that. I call it the Wall of Shame. That's how I remember it. And LB's like, I want to have, the culture that me and you have already, which is mutual respect, mutual feedback, honest feedback, build for scale. And these other kids, they were like 21. They were more building for money. They're like, oh, let's get like as many clients as we want and like really load our team members to write, design. And I told LB, look, if we build this, we need to build system from day one. So that's the first thing that really helped us. The second of all is acknowledge what I don't know and what I need help with, and vice versa. And I think the moment that we really thrived is when I took care of bringing the right clients and she took care of managing work through the system. Very much. And right now the team is a bit bigger and I see again a bit deficiencies, but now I took back, focused on what moves the needle quicker, like what the client cares about. And that is the main secret to success. If you build a product that is around clients and around clients' happiness, you'll always have bread on the table. If you build a business around money, else offers this with better customer service, you're out of business.
Traveling while running a business obviously sounds dreamy, but
yeah.
What have you learned about yourself or about your creativity by working around the world?
Yeah, it does take a toll on your mental health. Yeah, moving around, packing your stuff every single time, saying bye to people. There's something very consoling about seeing the same coffee shop every single day, ordering the same thing, smiling to that barista. It's very, very tough. It's extremely tough. Whomever sells you that lifestyle sitting on the beach with his laptop and just like sipping caipirinha lied to you big time. It's fugazi, as we say in New York. It's fake. It doesn't exist. You can do this. Maybe it's your personality, but I'm an extroverted. I like fast-paced lifestyles. I couldn't do it. Many times I just needed to stabilize myself and stay in one place. And I like that for a prolonged period of time. 2, 3, 4 months. I think is beautiful. But I do like weekend trips. I do like, outside of my routine that I like to build, 5 days in front of the same screen, same setup, same coffee every single day. This stuff, these small things, make you mentally healthy. They literally give you a sense of solid ground to step on and to create. And I didn't understand this at first because everybody on YouTube sells you their Lamborghini and they're like, on the go lifestyle. They can do whatever they want. They don't need anybody. Yeah, it's such a BS also. I feel like I like to have the same friends. I like to have the same coffee. I like to have the same desk. I like to have the same apartment. I like to sleep on the same side of the bed. I think that what really creates solid ground for your creativity to almost like, shine through.
You're kind of dealing with things on your own. So,
Yeah.
So I know that's a big challenge that a lot of people actually struggle with too when starting a business.
Oh yeah. And one thing that I can tell you, I'm very fortunate, Kelly, because I invested in really good friends that I met along the way. And some of them you even know, like Avi, but there's a bunch of others that you haven't met yet. And it's literally I think that's also part of my wealth. It's not just this business. It's not just the money. It's not the travel. It's the people that are next to you along the way that literally helped me multiple times in many different aspects, not only with the business, not only with mental health, not only with physical health. It's so many things, just that also solid ground. And I think like any people that I kind of see that are living till 100, healthy, their secret is simple. They eat well, like Mediterranean diet, like healthy proteins and
Yeah.
like a bunch of vegetables. And they have an active social life. Active social life. And
Yeah.
that's what I want for myself. I want to build this amazing community. I want to be surrounded by good people. And, I want kids one day. So, like, maybe find like a neighborhood and have like a bunch of houses next to each other, homeschool kids and things like that. I think that's real wealth, to be
Yeah, I
honest.
love that. I love that. Okay, so two more questions. So email marketing is one of the oldest tools in the digital game, right? So
Yeah.
why is it still so powerful even in 2025?
Yeah, I think everything is kind of going backwards. We kind of moved quickly, so like we moved so quickly. Google search, Facebook ads, TikTok, short, quick, this, that. But then people are like, they stopped trusting this, and they kind of understood. I'm not really focused when I'm on that platform. It's kind of too crazy.
Yeah.
And then comes email marketing. Everybody trusts this. It's almost like the source of truth for their receipts, for their maybe education, right? They kind of get like a series of emails from like an influencer or store, and they're like, all right, I like receiving these emails. It kind of grounds me, as
Yeah.
opposed to TikTok, super fast. And, these kids are dancing and jumping around. And then you see like an email. It's like settle. It's mellow. It gives you like a subtle dopamine hit. It's fun. It's kind of like a shot of espresso, as opposed to this like long, I don't know, big juice full of like sugar. That's what I think is TikTok. I think email marketing is like a shot of espresso. You
Yeah.
come in, you have your morning shot of espresso, and then you start your day.
Yeah, it's also super comforting as well to get a regular email from your favorite brand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I really think. I think people really like that.
Yeah, I love those aloe campaigns.
Dr. Squash, their text emails, the text messages, like, hey, you have points. We have a drop with Spider-Man. I'm like, hell yeah, I want to smell like Spider-Man. Like,
Stunning. Yeah, stunning. Okay, so last question for any creative or entrepreneur that is listening right now feeling stuck and they're trying to get out of that safe path, what advice would you give to someone?
fantastic question, Kelly. I think that a concept that really helped me and still helps me, by the way, I'm still very stuck in many things, is ask for help. You know what you know, and that's what, brought you to where you are. And it's beautiful. You don't know what you don't know. That's the phrase that really leads me with everything I do. I know what I know. I don't know what I don't know. What does that mean? Asking for help isn't something bad. On the contrary, you have so much to offer this world, especially if you're a creative person. Imagine where your creativity, how many people you can impact. And a lot of time, by us not asking for that help, you're just preventing yourself from shining through, your light shining through to the world, because we have this beautiful tool called the internet. And yes, there's a million creators out there, and we don't know exactly what style we like and who we want to kind of model or be like, or what is our unique style. And you really need to start somewhere. And I think by like reaching out even to you, and I see your work and I admire what you do on LinkedIn. I think it's beautiful. And I don't know why you don't have thousands of likes and shares. I think that is kind of like the small place that somebody can reach out to you and say, hey, Kelly, I really like your work. Do you mind if we jump on a call? Do you mind giving me feedback, if it's like even a small ask? And just starting somewhere. If somebody listens to this, obviously they like your work, and you don't do what you think you can, you don't meet your potential, like somebody told me all my life, just reach out. I reached out to somebody, it changed my life. Obviously, a lot of work happened afterwards.
Yeah.
But it's work that I was willing to take as long as I get that opportunity. And a lot of time it's all we need, just that one shot, that one person that believes in us. And reaching out for help is where I would highly recommend to anybody feeling stuck. Just reach out, send that Instagram message, comment on LinkedIn, send that email. I never believed in those gurus. They're like, yeah, just $7.99, just buy my course. It's fine, not my style. I always believed in that interpersonal, connection and reaching out. I think it's the most low hanging fruit. You're already following somebody. Your message clicked with me. Reach out.
I
Hey,
love that.
thanks.
That's one thing that I really admire about you. I wanted to tell you, is the fact that you just shoot your shot like all the time and you don't care what people think, which is really admirable actually. Like you just go for it.
Yeah, I actually do, Kels. There's a lot of shame still around many things that I do, but I try. I try. I do have shame. I come from a kind of religious family. There's a lot of shame with religion, some of it, and I try. I feel like that's what would send out. Just try.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Nate, for joining me. We are running out of time, but I really appreciated this whole
Thank you.
conversation. And as always, keep doing what you're doing because you are inspiring a lot of people and you don't even realize it.
I appreciate it, Kels. Thank you. You know, being next to you and working next to you is something that I also like to see. It's nice to have more creative people around me, and I really appreciate the opportunity.